currently live on Twitch, and I have 1,000 viewers, and basically everyone is spamming the same question. How does your Werebear build work? It works very effectively, and I'm doing lots of damage. I'm clearing everything in Torment, and people are wondering how. So I figured, let's do an updated post-nerf Druid build guide. I have since changed the way my build works, and I'm going to explain it for you. The first thing you need to know is the skills. Then we'll go into the modifiers for the skills. I'm using Earthen Bulwark. I am using Hurricane. I am using Debilitating Roar. I'm using Grizzly Rage. I'll explain why all this stuff in a moment. I'm using Earth Spike, and I'm using Pulverize. My skill tree is as follows, and then we'll go into legendary aspects. I'm running Earth Spike here with Enhanced Spike, okay? Going down here, I'm taking core skill damage increase because we're running Pulverize, which is a core skill. And this is just 1 point here just so I can get to the core skill bonus. We have Pulverize maxed out. Then we take Enhanced Pulverize for the Enhanced Overpower. If you're dying a lot, you can do the reduced damage. This is better when you're pushing Nightmare, etc. But the Overpower stun is better when you're using things like the Obsidian or if you are really requiring some CC. I don't need the additional CC, but the stun is nice. Here, the critical strike chance for close enemies, we're using Pulverize, and the damage reduction Werebear is kind of nice. I don't run these defensives, but these are good options. I need my points elsewhere, which is why we don't take these. I have Earthen Bulwark here with Enhanced Bulwark for the Unstoppable, and I'm doing the additional damage, but if you're finding yourself dying, the Fortify is better if you're struggling to keep Fortify. I'll explain why I don't need this in just a moment, okay, and why I'm running the damage variant. We're running Trample with, or excuse me, not Trample, we're Debilitating Roar with Fortify, and the Enhance, and obviously the Slow. The Slow there is because I am taking the increased damage from these passives that dealing damage to slowed, stun, immobilized Earth skills deal more damage. Pulverize is an Earth skill because, I'll show you the first legendary item, because Pulverize is now an Earth skill. So just keep in your mind, Pulverize, also Earth. It gets the bonuses from the Earth skills as well, which is why you're going to start seeing some Earth synergy as we go through this board. Now, so we have increased damage there. Now, when you have Fortify for over 50% of your maximum HP, this is why you see me have so much Fortify, your Earth skills deal 12% increased damage. Now, the critical strikes will grant you Fortify. The synergy is obvious at this point, okay? Now, we're going to run the Werebear form increased healing, just so I can get to the 20-second guaranteed overpower, as overpowers the vast majority of our damage in this build. Okay, guaranteed overpowers are fantastic. So we have the enhanced guarantee overpower from this one right here. We have the guarantee overpower from this one right here. So we also can take that, and then later on from the spirit boons if we want. If we don't want the nature magic, we can take the enhanced 20 kills. Even though this is nerfed, it's still viable. 20th kill, you get a guaranteed overpower. Overpower is very important because we're running willpower, we're running HP, and we're doing a Werebear with Pulverize, which is an overpower build. That's why we have so much synergy with the overpower here as well. So let's go ahead and continue through this. We're taking Hurricane. This is normally the one that throws people off, and people ask me, why do you take Hurricane? Well, it does 3 things. First and foremost, it slows, meaning anything that we have that increases damage to crowd control the enemies or slow the enemies, like this weapon right here, it's going to increase that. That's also why we take the boots, where your Earth skills slow enemies, for the same reason. We effectively want to have the enemies slowed all of the time. It counts as crowd control, and we've already talked about the benefits like crushing Earth that you get from having crowd-controlled enemies. So that synergy is obvious there as well. So that's why we take the slow on that there too, just as a heads up, okay? Now, as we move down the list here to this tier here, and I don't take Trample. You can run Trample if you want. There's a very good landslide Trample build. This one doesn't use it for reasons that we'll mention. So this is Defiance. Nature magic skills deal increased damage to elites. Little known fact, pulverizes nature magic if you actually make it an Earth skill. So it does work with this. So you get 12% increased damage to elites, which is fantastic because we need to one-shot things. We actually take nature magic, consume spirit that heals you maximum life. This pairs very well with critting, also gives you maximum life as well. Just a heads up, we get multiple forms of critical strikes are giving us heals, okay? But also the nature magic, just consuming the spirit will heal us. The reason constant heals trickling in is important is because the legendary pants that we're using, Temerity, affects the heal you beyond the 100%, grant you a barrier based upon the percentage of your maximum life that lasts for 8 seconds, okay? Up to 72%, the heals will constantly stack as I'm both critting and spamming spirit, which gives me a barrier. The reason the barrier is important is because the higher barrier that we have, then the less it's going to, they'll go through the barrier before it takes our fortify and total health. And we need to be both healthy as well as have fortify, because if you look at the way overpower works, is that overpower damage is damage dealt based upon your current life and fortify. So obviously we don't want them taking damage out of our life and fortify, because that's what the barrier's for. It's there to stop them from taking away from our damage pool, which is also our health pool, essentially. Okay. Now you might see vulnerable damage. We actually do have a form of vulnerable. That's one of the other things that Hurricane does. So Hurricane is our way of getting vulnerability. We don't really have that within this build, and vulnerability will increase our damage. So we're going to need vulnerability in this build with natural Hurricane. The other reason is we're using Grizzly Rage as an ultimate as we get down to the bottom tiers here. But before we get to that, we'll talk about the synergy with the Hurricane and Grizzly Rage, which is that Grizzly Rage, it makes you have damage reduction and go into this bear form. But before you go into the bear form, you can cast Hurricane and then go into Grizzly Rage, and the Hurricane will go around you while you're in bear form. The reason this is important is because of this right here. The duration of Grizzly Rage is increased, and while you're in Grizzly Rage, any active critical strikes will increase your critical damage by 10% per critical strike. This is infinitely scaling, meaning if we Hurricane then go to bear form, it's going to sit there and ramp AoE critical strike. This will do, the 17 damage meme. It's not going to do a lot of damage. It's not where we're getting our damage, but it will absolutely deal more damage on our Pulverize, because not only do we get the slow and vulnerability with the reasons we stated, but it also will ramp our damage because the Hurricane itself is critical striking. So it's a way, even though we're spamming Pulverize, which we can't do anything else but spam Pulverize, we're ramping even faster because we have a move that's a damage over time around us. So that's the reason that I'm currently running the Hurricane. Now, as we get down here, we're also running Earth Skills, deal damage to vulnerable enemies. Again, Hurricane and Storm Skills deal increased damage. Storm Skills don't matter. Hurricane's just for ramping purposes. We're running the Grizzly Rage, obviously. That's where we're getting a large amount of our ramping. And then the most important part of this is Earthen Might. Now, the way Earthen Might works is when you deal damage with an Earth Skill, this is part of the reason I was actually using Earthen Bulwark with damage instead of just the Fortify, you have a chance of restoring your spirit all the way. So when you Pulverize something, it will crit, gives you a 10% chance if it crits. If it doesn't crit, 5% chance of getting all of your spirit back instantly all the way to a max spirit cap. Now, I have a high max spirit cap of 159, and that's because of the way the Paragon board works. So there's actually synergy. Now, before we get into the parts with the spirit generation, I want to talk about the beginning, because the spirit generation is where most people mess up with the Earth Bear. But from the beginning here, if you look at this, we're going to go all the way down and take the damage. I'm kind of avoiding the life. We can come get it if we want, but I'm really careful with my Paragon points. I want to go up here. I have the overpower damage. We're going to modify these glyphs. I'm not happy with my glyph sockets, so don't take these too seriously. But in here, I'm basically taking the willpower, the damage. We're going to continue to climb up this Paragon tree until we get to the next one, which is the Crushing Earth Board. Effectively, the Earth Board that's going to make your Earth Skills deal increased damage to crowd control. Once again, slow counts for this reason, so we're going to be using this one. Now, we're also going to take the Earth Skill damage. We'll take anything that gives us Earth Skill damage. Again, the reasons are obvious, and we're going to be using damage while in Werebear form, damage reduction while in Werebear form, and we're going to take the willpower around this as well as critical strike damage, etc. So this is a pretty obvious board. Anything that gives us damage. I did sneak over here for a little bit of damage reduction because I felt like I needed it. It's not required. Something I thought I needed. More damage, critical strike, and then we go up to the next board. Now, this board is the one that's often very slept on and is very, very important. Now, how this board actually works is this is how you get your spirit on your Druid. So most people have a Pulverize, they do one big hit, and they're like, wow, I hit hard, it feels great. And then they wait an hour to get that crit again. Now, in order to be able to constantly spam these Pulverizes, you need this board. What this board is after spending 75 spirit, you deal increased damage. But more importantly, if you look at the nodes here, the rare and magic nodes are important. Maximum spirit increase. So increasing your maximum spirit means when we're getting the procs from this Earthen Might key passive, then we have a larger pool of which instantly fills to maximum. So we get more total Pulverize of which to attempt to trigger this Earthen passive again in order to loop our infinite spirit. Now, obviously, the synergy with getting a spirit per kill is important as well. If you look at this one right here, spirit per kill. So every time we're killing trash mobs, we're getting spirit back. This is a refund that happens the exact same as this unique ring, which if your core skill hits 5 or more, and you get this guaranteed for the Lilith boss fight. So you're guaranteed to have this one. If your core skill hits 5 or more enemies, you get a refund of part of your resources. Pulverize is a core skill, so this helps with the spam once again. So you can see where the synergy is coming in, okay? Now, also, we're getting, if you go scroll down here, we're getting maximum spirit, but spirit on kill, and maximum spirit here. So this is just a bunch of spirit circle jerk synergy of constantly regenerating your spirit and spamming out the bear. Now, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take core skill, Werebear damage, take all of the nice perks around here, take the damage while 4 to 5 increase, and anything here that's going to give me bonus stats. My next one's going to go right there, the core damage and basic skill damage. This will give me a big ramp up in terms of damage. I'm very excited for unlocking this one here. And look at this, I'll hit level 80 in, 20 minutes. Okay, I'm going to be level 80 and I'll get that, which will be bonus damage. That's how my Paragon board works. Now, just to make sure you're missing items, Viscera's Prayer, Earth Skills are a Werebear. That's why my Werebear form also allowed me to use my basic attack as well as my Earthen Bulwark. The chest plate's Insatiable Fury, which gives me Werebear stats. I'm constantly a Werebear forever. That's how I'm permanently a Werebear. Pulverize makes it an Earth skill on the gloves. The pants are super tanky. These are basically keeping me alive always, which is temerity. This will give you a barrier from the heals that we've mentioned about how we get the heals. The boots give us the slow. Okay, you can move this around somewhere else if you wanted. The weapon, I'm doing the Earth skills, critical damage to crowd control enemies, which is pairs with the slow. That's 80%, and I do critical strike damage to crowd control enemies with the gems, and I'm doing maximum life in order to increase my overpower damage on these as well. It's all about damage. The necklace gives me the Pulverized Shockwave, probably the best aspect for the entire Werebear Druid. The duration of Grizzly Rage, we've already explained why this ramps with the critical strike damage with Hurricane and the other moves. And then we also have the Temerity with the core skill. Okay, so that is effectively my full build. Let me show you some examples of how it works. So I'm just going to play here for a few minutes so you can kind of see how the build works. Basically, if you have no spirit, you have to basic attack until you get some spirit. Then you're pulverized. Now you see how I have maximum spirit. Again, maximum spirit again. So this is how we solve our spirit generation issues. That's why we can constantly pulverize and actually do something. So what people tend to do is they build the overpower of the Druid all the way like One Punch Man, and then they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs while they have no maximum spirit, no spirit on kill, no spirit feedback from this core ring. I think people are sleeping on this core ring. So actually being able to spam this ability is very nice. In terms of damage output, what you will do is you will slow them to get that bonus, Hurricane for the vulnerability, shield up to make sure you have 4-5 maximum, and then you're going to go ahead and crit. And now you're seeing some big numbers, and you start killing everything. You kill elites, there's like a 500k crit, no problem, and we still got spirit for the next pack. And that's at the beginning of the ramp. It will only continue the ramp throughout the rest of Grizzly Rage, and every time we're getting a kill, we're extending the duration of Grizzly Rage as well. So you can see how this gets crazy very quickly. And now here, we're just going to continue. We're going to use the conduit because conduits are fun. Okay, conduit's over, back to the AoE. And there you go. It is better to be able to spam pulverize and do smaller overpowered damage than it is to have one big hit fairly rarely. Because of the ability to ramp with this Hurricane. See, right now I'm ramping just from having Hurricane. They're vulnerable. There's a big crit. Look at that. That's the first crit right out of the Grizzly Rage Pulverize. There you go. There's a slap. You just destroy everything. You just walk right through everything, okay? And we're recording this in one take live at twitch.tv/DarthMicrotransaction. There's actually a free promo currently going on for free cosmetics that you can watch just by watching my live stream. This is my live stream right here. You can actually watch this channel for a total of 3 hours to get a Rogue Cosmetic, 3 more to get a Necromancer one. And if you actually give 2 subs to my channel right now, I'm one of the Diablo partners. If you give 2 subs, you'll also get a horse in-game, a code that will show up right here in notification. So if you enjoyed this video, consider gifting 2 subs to the channel if you would like to support me and also get yourself a horse in game, or just watch the channel and get some free cosmetics, as you just watching will help a whole bunch. And I will have links down below where you can find this information as well. Love you all. Thanks for subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next video.